This is the all-new Super Linton, and this is the 85th anniversary Linton. They are two different speakers from Wharfedale that share the same name. Actually, this is the newer version of this one. And today's video is going to talk about just that. What are all the differences between the new one and the previous one? And is the new one better than the previous one? We'll never know until you watch this video. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee from your Roswell, New Mexico coffee mug. I want to believe. Let's talk about the Super Linton. Sorry, let's try it again. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, maybe from your Roswell coffee mug. I want to believe. And let's talk about the Super Linton versus the Linton 85th anniversary edition. The Super Linton, legit, just came out. The Linton 85th edition has been around for a few years, and I loved that speaker, but there are some key differences between the Super Linton and the 85th edition Linton. But before we get into that, let's talk about today's sponsor. Sometimes as an audiophile, you go through life thinking it's all about the music. And that's just not true. It's all about criticizing other people because they don't have the right equipment. And in order to properly criticize other people's systems and their taste in music, you need one of these. It's the Sith Audio Audiophile Blue Pill. What happens when you take the blue pill is your audiophile journey gets sped up. You start to see what it's really like out there. Available now at sithaudio.empire. The audiophile blue pills are available for $1,023 a piece. Thank you, Sith Audio. Let's see what the differences are. I know the Super Linton has a new tweeter. I think it might also have a new woofer. And as you can see by some of the pictures, it definitely is bigger. According to Wharfedale, it has a refined treble unit. That's right, I'm just reading from the website. Borrowing technology from the flagship Dovetail, which is a lot more expensive. The Super Linton's treble driver features a 25mm fabric dome with ceramic magnet motor system, enhanced by a new front plate design, and you can tell that by looking at the pretty B-roll. The high frequencies offer smooth dispersion and natural integration into the upper mid-range, bringing unparalleled detail and harmony. Is that what it sounds like? You're gonna have to wait till I get into the sound impressions later. Also apparently has a new crossover, which is on two different boards. I don't know how any of that works, so it comes on two boards. And they upgraded the bass driver with a more powerful motor system, increasing magnet strength to a deep, dynamic, low frequency response down to 32 hertz. What is the regular? What did the 85th go? How far did they go down? The previous Wharfedale went down to 40. All right, so these go quite a bit lower. Do they sound like it? We'll get into that later when we talk about the sound. You're gonna have to stick around. Am I bothering you yet? If I'm not bothering you, consider subscribing. I know 60% of you watching right now are not subscribed. You can donate your subscription today. It may be a tax write-off. It probably won't be. And if you don't like me, which you probably won't after watching a few videos, you can always unsubscribe later. Trust me, about 1,500 people do it each month. On the 85th edition, all right, come on, Randy. 85th edition nominal impedance is 6 ohm, minimum impedance is 3.5. New Super Linton minimum impedance is 3.9. So the Super Linton, a little bit easier to drive. Now, one of the things I noticed when I did my initial impressions video was the sensitivity, because the Super Linton just sounded louder than the 85th Linton, but they have the same sensitivity, which I find kind of interesting, because I noticed a significant, not significant, it just wasn't as loud. And I had these running off of the Advanced Paris A10 Classic. It's yummy. Yummy. Love it. I haven't listened to it for a while. I'm just so glad I brought it back out to the living room. Back in that bag again. The other thing that's different, whoa, there we go. The other thing that's different about the Linton, the Super Linton, they have a larger enclosure. The height is 22.2 inches on the 85th anniversary and 23.8 inches, but it looks like it's a lot bigger on camera. It's amazing how much bigger just an inch and a half is. Terrible. All right, the 85th anniversary weighs 40.6 pounds. The new Super Linton weighs 43.7 pounds, so it's also heavier. And from my understanding, there's some stuff on the inside of the Super Linton with some, I don't know, mats, felt or something like that. Anyway, it's supposed to do good things on the inside. Does it impact the sound? I don't know. You're gonna have to wait till the end of the video to find that out. Both of these come in 3 different color variations. You have a black oak, black ash. You have a walnut, black oak, walnut, or mahogany. I have the black and the mahogany here, mahogany. I kind of wish I had the walnuts, but I don't. The mahogany though is pretty, they're all pretty cool, and it's real wood veneer. Amp and electronics, I kind of touched on it already. I have the Advanced Paris A10 Classic with the Weem Ultra running streaming duties going into a mystery machine, which I'm going to talk about later. So make sure that you're subscribed, because I think I've got it, not necessarily a solution, but I think I can level up the sound quality on the Weem Ultra, which is a streamer that comes in at $330 for only about $60. All of that is going into the Jashelli Labs J2, the 44 or J2S socketed 4499 DAC. Fantastic DAC. Both speakers are hooked up to the A10 Classic, and what I was doing is you take your remote control, you take your wonderful Advanced Paris A10 remote control. Here, there's an A-B button, so you can cycle through the A speaker or the B speaker, or A plus B speaker. Fairly straightforward. I was going to hook up the Duke audio speaker switcher to it, but then I would have had to have the same amp, the same source, the same DAC, so I just figured I'd hook them both up to the Advanced Paris A10 Classic. And it seemed to work out really well. So the Soundstage, you want to come up? Yeah. So the Soundstage on both of these speakers is awesome, and that was one of the things about the 85th edition Linton that I thought was really the standout feature. The standout part of that speaker for me, the experience, was the Soundstage, because it was super deep and just bigger. I will say that the Super Linton has a tighter soundstage, and if anything, a bigger soundstage. And it may not be bigger, it may just seem bigger because it's more clearly defined, especially forward to aft. I had, if you check out my initial impressions video, which I will link in the description of this video, the lead singer or whatever was in the center of the image, the soundstage, seemed a fair bit forward of other instruments, to the point where I mentioned in that video, I felt like I had a center speaker. It's really that good. So if I was comparing the 85th edition Linton, which I am, to the Super Linton, the 85th edition seems to just kind of have an orb vibe, where the Super Linton legit feels like I'm watching a band or watching a performance, and I can sense where the different parts of the band are at. I don't think laterally there's much difference, but everything is just more clearly defined with the Super Linton compared to the 85th anniversary edition. Sound impressions. This is where they really separate themselves, because the Super Linton sounds like a completely different speaker. ELAC had the debut first generation, which was an affordable bookshelf, whole affordable line of speakers. The ELAC debut second generation sounded like a completely different company. So it didn't sound like an iteration on the first generation. To me, the Super Linton does not sound like a simple iteration on the 85th edition. It sounds like a completely different speaker. But the difference between Wharfedale and ELAC is that I like the Super Linton better. The 85th edition is warm. It's really robust on the bottom, warm through the mid-range, and a bit rolled off on top, but it does give you an incredible soundstage experience. The Super Linton does all of the same things, except it's cleaner and leaner in the mid-range and way more airy on top. And while I do occasionally like the sound of a warmer speaker, my preference is generally for a speaker that has more detail through the mids and the top. The great thing about the Super Linton, though, is there is never any sibilance, which sometimes is part and parcel to a speaker that has either more clarity or the perception of more clarity because there's a bump on the top end. And the Super Linton didn't do that. I wouldn't even say it like approached sibilance. It just sounds natural. To me, it sounds very similar to the Q Acoustics 5000 series, the 5040, which is coming in at $1,500. By the way, the Linton 85th anniversary is coming in at $1,500 if you can find them. I think Wharfedale USA has some in stock, except for Walmart, except for the walnut, which is coming in December. But I think you can get the black oak version and the mahogany version of the 85th anniversary now, and they're on sale with free stands, I think, for $1,500. So for $1,500, you're getting the Wharfedale 85th anniversary. The new Super Linton is on sale, or they're running a promo where they are $2,500, but if you buy them now, if you're an early bird, you get free stands. And the stands, I have to tell you, are extraordinary. I usually don't get very excited about stands, but these stands are awesome. You don't have to put them together. You just pull them out of the box and you put the speakers on top. Put some little rubber things in between the speakers and the stands, though. Stands are also color matched to the speaker. What was I saying? Oh, sound differences. The one thing where I feel the 85th anniversary has a little bit of an edge over the Super Linton is bass punch. Now, I don't think I have run the Super Linton long enough. I think I've got 40 hours on them at this point, but I am running the loudness control on the A10 Classic because I didn't feel like there was enough slap on the bottom. From what I understand, and from what has been a bit of my own experience with Wharfedale products, is that they do require some break-in. I am anticipating that the longer I listen to the Super Linton, the more they're going to get, the punchier they're going to get on the bottom. I mean, even right now, just running some loudness control, I prefer the Super Linton over the 85th anniversary edition. What are you doing? Say hello to everybody. It's the new dog. Ow! So, what are my final thoughts? Well, they're both awesome for different reasons. I love the 85th anniversary because it's a warmer speaker, but it also gives me a different experience than most even tower speakers. So with something with the larger front baffle, the more classic heritage-inspired design, I get a bit of a different soundstage experience, as I would with a bookshelf speaker or anything else. But the Super Linton is really my type of speaker. I'm starting to fall in love with these speakers like the Q Acoustics 5000 series that have that natural tonality through the mid-range and the top end. And I don't feel like they're boosted anywhere. I don't feel like they're pushed forward anywhere in the upper mid-range. I don't feel like they have the metallic twang of an aluminum dome tweeter or anything else. I just love soft dome tweeters. Another difference between these is the tweeter is a lot more offset on the Super Linton versus the OG Linton, the 85th anniversary Linton. Everybody, including non-audiophiles, is going to be able to hear an immediate difference between the Super Linton and the 85th anniversary. And they're just going to say, hey, there's more detail. I can hear more on the top end, or I can hear more treble, or I can hear the drums better, or I can hear the voices better. Absolutely nothing wrong with the 85th anniversary. But I would be doing you a disservice if I just said, hey, the 85th is 85% of the Super Linton. It's not, because they're completely different speakers. And depending upon what type of experience you want to have, then you may want to choose the 85th anniversary over the Super Linton, and they're $1,000 cheaper right now. So if you like a warmer speaker, the 85th anniversary is the way to go. If you want a, I think, more balanced speaker, and one that has top end clarity and more clarity through the mid-range, and is just a flat out amazing speaker, balanced speaker, less personality, but because it has less personality, I like it a little bit better. I don't know. I like the Super Linton better. I'm hoping they get a little poppier on the bottom end too, because how cool would it be to just be like a total flex and have this as every speaker in your home theater, or at least 5 of these for your home theater system, because I think you can buy these individually. And I'm glad it came out this year, because the Super Linton will be a contender for Speaker of the Year. If you like this video, you may want to check out my initial impressions video on the Super Linton. I'll link it at the end of this video and in the description. If you want to support the channel, just like and subscribe. You can also use any of the links in the description. Those will be affiliate links, which means if you click and buy, I get a commission. It doesn't cost you anymore though, so it's a great way to support the channel. Also, super thanks button down below the video if you want to send me a couple of dollars, buy me a cup of coffee, or you can check out my Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe.